Hello, everybody. This is Storm, Commissioner of the SADL, and we are back for our Week 8 game reviews. Very exciting week this week in the SADL. Playoffs are right around the corners, right around the corner, not multiple. I don't hope there's multiple corners here. Singular corner, and it's intense. It's getting crazy. I'm really excited. Like, there's so much tension, and like there's still a lot of teams left alive. There's some teams that are kind of making some Cinderella runs, and this week like helped push that. It was a very exciting week in the SADL, and I'm excited to see what next week brings and what's going to look like at the end of the regular season, and then moving on to the playoffs. So I'll just hop right into it. Look at our matches. We do have 6 matches this week. We haven't had that in a few weeks. So yeah, we have that going on, and let's hop to the first match. Tanner of the Chicago Toros versus Manny of the New York Munchlax. So both of these teams are still obviously in playoff contention. Tanner, obviously, I think he pretty much needed this win going into this match. So we see a Glamora lead into the Landorus. Simple lead, get up its hazards, avoids, is able to dodge the setting up the toxic spikes by leading the Landorus and getting the kill. Very interesting. I don't like, obviously the Glamora was Sash, so it was meant to die. I think it may be going to the Tinglu either either right away and just preserving the Glamora, or just leading potentially Tinglu into the Glamora. I don't think that would have been a bad play. Or, I mean, we saw it goes for Psychic to finish off the Glamora, so obviously if he pivots Tinglu there and preserving the Glamora for later, because that's a great thing too. Having this Glamora on deck, if he doesn't have up hazards, like switching into like an Infernape or an Urshifu, and getting like your Toxic Spikes up surprisingly. Obviously, he does have the Toxic Spikes, I'm sorry, to absorb those T Spikes, but you know, I think that could have been a different play, but at the end of the day, it's not really much. Goes right into the Chin Pao. It's very threatening for Tanner's team. Toxic Specs is very obvious switch in, but the Icicle Crash gets a crit, and the Chin Pao reveals that it's Life Orb. And we see the Psychic Fangs come out to finish it off. So getting rid of the Toxapex, one of Tanner's Pokemon that Tanner has heavily relied on. Getting rid of that early, getting a very even trade. Chin Pao is forced out because of the potential Infernape. And we see the close combat come out, and it does reveal that as a Scarf Infernape because this is a Scarf Quackleval. I do remember this. I did help Manny with a little bit of prep. Was obviously fearing the priority, and I think the idea was, yes, the Mach Punch comes out from the Infernape because we don't know if it's Scarf or not. And, we go Quack, and Quack eats the close combat, and then obviously the Infernape click close combat because it knew it was faster than the Chin Pao. Reading that Mach Punch there. Obviously, the best play is to go into the Enamorus, but didn't work out. Not in a bit of a misplay there for Manny. It's something he talked about this after the game too. Some of his misplays. We see the immediate Terra Fairy on the Torterra into a Shell Smash after threatening out the Infernape, and the Grimmsnarl smartly comes in to Thunder Wave it. Terra Blast picks up the kill, and the Infernape comes out, but now with the Terra Fairy, Flare Blitz does not kill, and the Terra will pick up another kill with its Earthquake. I don't really hate that play. Actually, yeah. That was a bit of a misplay from Tanner because Flare Blitz is never going to kill, and we see so it's not the Landorus, it is the actually the Zoroark because it uses Sludge Bomb here. I definitely think he should have went either Landorus or Zoroark first instead of letting the Infernape die. But we see the Tinglu come in, forces something out, forces in the real Landorus, spikes go up. Earth Power gets a very unfortunate crit there. Whirlwinded out, brings out her Shifu. Now we're in a tough position because all these offensive threats that are on Tanner's team, forcing a lot of stuff from Manny to play to his defensive checks. See a Calm Mind here, and unfortunately, right here is a bit of another misplay because he immediately goes for the Mystical Fire. Now, I think the thing was, I think, in my opinion, uh, obviously he should have draining kissed there to get some restore his HP. I think that's like the better play. I don't know if Enamus restores enough, um, but it would potentially could have changed the outcome of the game after the combine. Either that or double draining kiss. But I really think on the second Sludge Wave he should have went to Tinglu and forced and then basically just whirlwind and forced it around and either say the Enamorers to come in on like say the Urshifu later. I think or just keep it as a sack. Playing through your sacks is always something you can do while you're down because either you just like your team was not gonna take anything from that sludge wave. Can't be toxic either because it's sheer force. And we saw how much a crit Earth Power did, so it can obviously live another Earth Power and very easily take advantage of that with a Whirlwind. So I kind of I don't know if it how much it affects the outcome of this game, but I think that might have been a better play in that situation. Chin Power comes out, obviously he's going to force something. It picks up a kill with the Icicle Crash. So the Urshifu, that is not the Urshifu, comes out. Now, this was a misplay by Manny, something else he also said. Was not paying attention that this was not Urshifu. And obviously the potential for Scarf Zoroark was there. And unfortunately, like obviously a switch to Tinglu here just is very big. Like a switch to Tinglu, I don't know if it wins him the game because I don't know what the Urshifu set is. It might be banded, but switch to Tinglu would have been great because you get the Earthquake something for free, and obviously the Urshifu is not doing anything to you. So basically, it's put in a position where Tinglu, yeah, does 12%. Tinglu can't do anything uh, to win the game because obviously Urshifu is going to come out here and click Close Combat and end it. So a bit of an upset. I guess I'm not gonna really spoil any of the matches, but was a big upset week. This was one of the first upsets we had. Um, and yeah, Manny, misplayed a little bit. He definitely did. I think, not paying attention to the Zoroark at the end there, put him in a bad spot. Some other misplays like not letting Quack die early for basically no reason when you had the Enamorus there. I understand you want to keep the Enamorus healthy for Shifu. I think you could have played the sack around with your Shifu a little bit better. Because basically Tinglu is never going to be put in a position where he's going to like die to like Zoroark or Landorus without taking like a bunch of hits. And the more hits you're taking, the more chip you're getting on your opponent with Earthquake and Whirlwind. So either way, big win for Tanner to keep him alive in the playoff race. Um, and this I'll say disappointing. That's not the word I'm looking for. I guess it's a tough loss really for Manny. But we'll move on to our second match, and we have Board Addict of the Minnesota Glow Kings versus Phil has made a return to the SADL to be a temporary coach for War Master. Taking over the King City Kingdras potentially, maybe possibly for the end till the end of the season. Unfortunately, there was a medical emergency. I guess we'll just put it that way. That popped up for War Master, um, and so asked Phil, and Phil said he's willing to substitute coach as long as War Master was okay with it. War Master was okay with it, so he played this match for him. Potentially could play more matches. It's really up to War Master. Obviously, it's his team. He has complete control over that. But we just want a substitute coach to avoid more forfeits. Unfortunately, he had to forfeit his game last week because of that medical emergency, and previously forfeited the week prior due to scheduling issues. So just to avoid more forfeits in the league, I decided to approve that decision, and if War Master's okay with it, it was fine. So Phil will be coaching the King City Kingdras. Until further notice, I guess would be the best way to put that. Until War Master, War Master wants to play, he can play. Obviously, I have no problem with that. But anyways, so we'll get started with this match. Pretty important match for Board Addict going into this match. So we see a trade of spikes. Unfortunately, we have the spike bug on Phil's side, so it's unfortunate. Nice whirlwind to pull out the scissor, which obviously can't do anything, so it's forced to U-turn. Serena comes out to rapid spin I don't hate this because you had two layers of spikes up, and we see the Skarmory goes for Brave Bird anyways. But this play right here is a very crucial play in the entire turn of the match. We see the Quagsire come out on the Skarmory. Now, Phil has, not Phil, Board Addict has a lot of good Pokemon to deal with the Skarmory. Like, obviously, like Serena and Gliscor can't really deal with it, or Scissor, but Chi-Yu and Raikou just threatened like a lot of things on Phil's team, and him not going to one of those just didn't make sense here because it's letting the Skarmory get spikes back up, and obviously Serena can't sit in front of the Skarmory. Uh, anyway, Skarmory gets both rocks and spikes up. And also going into this to try and set up, the Skarmory has already revealed Whirlwind. Very interesting too. This is a non-roost Skarmory, so any damage you do is permanent too. So I really just I don't think that was a great play by Board Addict there. Whirlwind drags out the Gliscor. Also trying to U-turn for the Skarmory is dangerous too. We do see the Raikou come out, but obviously the Skarmory can be just put in a position where you can just click Whirlwind a bunch. Um, Kilowattrel is the a pretty obvious switch in. There absorbs the Volt Switch, so not getting anything from the Raikou there. Gliscor comes in, gets you turned on. Good pivot by Phil. Gets in the Manaphy, which threatens Board Addict's team a lot, really, truthfully. And we see a Scissor switch in as a tail glow comes up, and basically this is just a sack for the Scissor. I don't hate this call at all from Board Addict. Scissor is not, I would say, dead weight. It's good for the clef, obviously, and Board Addict team doesn't necessarily deal with the clef exceptionally well, but it's not like the clef is going to wall his entire team. But yeah, Scissor doesn't have a lot of mileage against most of this team. Obviously, the Intimidate, Manaphy resist Bullet Punch, Kilowattrel resist Bullet Punch, Gouging Fire resist Bullet Punch, Skarmory resist Bullet Punch. Yeah, so basically, kind of a sack here. I don't really hate this sack right here because it's kind of you're just getting something useless to get in something stronger. So Raikou comes back in, unfortunately eating a lot of chip. And we see a Chi-Yu pivot. That's not a bad pivot, but it's not boot, so it takes a lot of damage. The Kilowattrel comes out. Terra Fairies into a Dark Pulse. I understand the Dark Pulse play because of Gouging Fire, but I think I would have rather just seen Fire move, honestly. And if he goes Gouging Fire, then you have to kind of play around it. You have the Quagsire, which kind of pivots into it always. So now the Chi-Yu reveals that it is Choice. I think it was Choice Scarf, judging by the damage, and if I remember correctly. So it's just throwing Dark Pulse into this clef, basically not really doing anything. Moonblast comes out, finishes off the Chi-Yu. It's a very tough position. Goes into this arena, realizes he needs to get the hazards off the field, and dies to the flamethrower. So down in a tough 6-3 spot for Board Addict. Goes into the Quag, and then I don't know if he was expecting the Quag to force out the Clef, because we kind of see an unnecessary pivot into the Raikou. Doesn't really do anything. Just get some really just chip on the Raikou with the from the life orb. Get crit on the Quag as it comes in, and as you can probably tell by that damage, this Quagsire is unaware. It's not water absorbed, so uh, kind of some useless. I would say, yeah, useless. Really, truthfully, combines from Phil. I don't know if he noticed that it was unaware or not, but the Quag reveals that it sets up some more. I say reveal. It revealed earlier that it was cursed, but it starts setting up some more. We're just going to see these two set up on each other. Phil has yet to realize that this Quagsire is unaware. Huge damage from the Avalanche there. And this is also another misplay, I think, because we will see, yeah, see the Quagsire does not recover this turn. If the Quagsire recovers this turn, I don't want to say the match is over, but that's a big thing for Phil because there's not a lot on. A big thing for Board Addict. It's not a lot on Phil's team that breaks this, and I really think he should have recovered that turn. Hurricane from Kilowattrel will pick up the kill. See the Gliscor come out, eats a Terra Blast Fairy, finishes off Kilowattrel with Earthquake. So tough down, tough 4-2. Like the momentum was kind of in Board Addict's favor. I think he should have recovered that turn. I think you always want to play that safe. Man, if he comes in, picks off the glide score, and obviously Raikou is in a tough position because I don't think it can win from this spot at all. And the Thunderbolt doesn't even kill the Manaphy. So GG to Phil coming in, stepping up, substitute coaching, and canning a really bad loss to Board Addict. Not a good position for him to be in this late in the season. But yeah, as you can see right here, Board Addict even calls it like that. Turn 5 was bad. That was a turn that he stayed in, and got and let it. Not stayed in, but he didn't switch to like Chiyu or Raikou. I think the Chiyu is perfect in that position, because you can click Dark Move and he doesn't have good switch into it. That was pre Terra, on the Kilowattrel. Obviously, it's kind of a hindsight. It's 50-50 all I think, but I really think he should have made that play. Um, because it's not like you could fear like body press from Skarmory maybe, but I don't think it ever clicks body press in that situation. And I think it had already revealed Spikes, Whirlwind, and Brave Bird, so very unlikely that last slot was body press. It would either be Roost or in this case Stealth Rock. Um, so yeah, I think pivoting Shiyu there was the play because he doesn't have any Dark Pulse switch. His best Dark Pulse switch in is Overquill, and it's going to take like a decent chunk as well, just because it's Beads of Ruin. So yeah, bit of a misplay there, and also not recovering with the not Clodsire, sorry, Quagsire late in the game. Um, Anyways, our next match we have it's Titan, coach of the Turin Trevenants, versus Brady, coach of the New Jersey Jinx. Two teams who need this. Both teams need this win to remain in playoff contention. So this is a pretty big match here. Um, I'll get started with it. Very interesting situation for both these teams to kind of be in. Obviously, Brady coming in, taking over this team late in the season. Shout out to Brady, by the way. Absolutely, thank you for doing what you did, stepping up. We needed it. And Titan being down, I think was 0-4 at one point. So we see not being in playoff, remaining in playoff contention is kind of crazy. Tanner as well, I think was 0-4. I think maybe Titan was 0-5, Tanner was 0-4, and they're both in playoff contention. Kind of crazy. But we see Toxic Spikes go up. We see a Spore come out for someone to sleep. Toxic Spikes also go up, so we see both Toxic Spikes and a Smart Empoleon switch. Um, Obviously, this is I guess this was D Dance Earth Power. That's a bit of a weird set. Because if you're not committing fully to the specially offensive, you're probably not cracking an Empoleon ever. So it doesn't do anything. We see the Roar come out to force Toxic onto the no hazard removal on Brady's side either, which was tough. And you can't tell, but this Weezing was levitated. Well, you can tell if a Weezing's levitate because it obviously no neutralizing gas or Misty Surge, or so it has to be levitate, and so it can't even absorb the toxic spikes. So these toxic spikes are going to stay up the rest of the game. Empoleon Flash Cannon does a chunk to this Weezing. And we see the Toad Scroll pivot out to clear up the toxic spikes. Love this play, taking advantage of the sleep. Rapid spin. Get rid of the toxic spikes. Woke up. So we see another layer of toxic spikes go up. I think a Spore there predicting the sleep wake up would have been great. Unfortunately, we see the Spore now. I think this next play, the Toadstools tries to set another layer, knockoff. I think this play maybe is the play that the Toadstools try to set another layer of Toxic Spikes. Titan obviously not aware that. Oh no, he rapid spins. It's one of these plays coming up. It happens. I promise. You'll see. He tries to set up another layer of Toxic Spikes, taking advantage of the sleep turn, getting max sleep turns. Yeah, there it is. Try to set up another layer of Toxic Spikes. Obviously, it's not going to work because you can only set up two. Zamazenta comes in. Interesting switch to Zamazenta. I feel like there were better Pokemon to go into. Unfortunately, the Terra Fairy into the Crunch, the Zamazenta revealing that it is. No, it doesn't reveal anything actually. There, I guess. It is banded, by the way. It's not. It's not Iron Defense. Flash Cannon does a bunch. This Empoleon's kind of going crazy here. We see the rocks go up, and the Ursaluna switching into the Flash Cannon, taking a bunch. Empoleon living this. Gets a roar off there. And I think Flash Cannon's here to kill. No, Roost. Okay, smart Roost. Big Roost there from staying with this Empoleon He very bold. I think I don't know exactly if Brady predicted a switch from the Empoleon. Um, Hold on, I lost my train of thought. No, the Earth Power. Okay, so the roar into the Earth Power to get the Ursulin off the field, and unfortunately bringing out the wheezing so that way they get a roost off. Also interesting to see that this Empoleon is slower than the or faster than the wheezing and Trick Room, able to pick off the wheezing. So the Empoleon going crazy, putting massive chunks in Brady's team. The Fire Trick comes out, does huge damage. Obviously, I'm pretty sure this is banded. Um, Is this the play I'm thinking of? Yeah. So we see the switch here. I guess reading, maybe trying to read the Trevenant switch in. But what happens is uh, we see a roost from Titan. So a good play for him. Great turn for him. And the Earth Power does next to nothing. Do we see another? No, we don't see another roost. Gets the unfortunate special defense drop into the competitive boost to annihilate the Curum. So Titan, I think, says here in the chat he's trying to get rid of the Empoleon, like just sacking it, and unfortunately, it just tears through Brady's team. Finally, the revenge kill. Then the close combat from the Zamazenta forces out the Miasgarada. Close combat into Palafin does a lot because this Zamazenta is banded, and unfortunately the bulk up into the toxic finishing off the oh wait, I just realized something. I think I messed up on kill stats. Did I even no, I didn't record the kill leader stats for this. Never mind. I have to remember to do that after this game, or after this recording, should I say. So Zamazenta is able to just finish up, clear off here, get 3 kills, coming in big for Titan this matchup. Yeah, so a 5-0 for Titan, a strong display, knocks Brady out of playoff contention with this match. Um, and yeah, that was just really it's kind of overplaying by Brady. That's one of the things you want to avoid is because like you I don't want to say it's a variance in skill, but like in draft it's like players are when you're prepping the way that you prep in draft, players oftentimes have strategies. Like the Empoleon had done way more than it should ever have done in that matchup. Like obviously it walls the Curum, um, but like Blood Moon destroys it. We saw that Miascarada destroyed it. It straight up walls these two, and it had already done its job. And Titan was just trying to get rid of it so that way he can pivot into something else and try to set up and win. And unfortunately, Brady just wasn't playing to that, and basically just let. I mean, he got lucky too with the roar pulling the wheezing, but just wasn't playing to that and was just letting Titan get free turns, setting up and stuff like that, or not setting up, just killing stuff basically, keeping his Napoleon alive, and just went crazy there. Um, so strong finish there. Our fourth match, we have a big playoff match. Both these teams 4-3 heading into this match. Wumples of the Anchorage Bearticks versus Jake of the Washington Wishmaker. So this is a big playoff match here. And we see the Fortress lead against the Cleaver. Cleaver U-turns here, I guess, to avoid the potential gyro ball as it does come out. So smart play by Jake there on that pivot. Goes into his Hoopa to try to kill the Weezing. Obviously, doesn't fear it that much. Uh, Dark Pulse leaves Cleaver on 1 HP, and we don't see the U-turn to kill. I don't want to say that was a misplay necessarily. Obviously, Stone Axing there, ton of damage on the Hoopa and getting your rocks up. Either way, it was a good play. That's just a good turn for Jake, living and then getting his rocks up. So I don't really hate that play there, to be honest. Nice. I think he takes it. Yeah, this play right here takes advantage of the Calm Mind on the Hoopa fearing a potential Thunderclap. And then Thunderbolts on the Diancie. Gets his light screen up, but obviously folds to 2 Thunderbolts. Then we see the Ogre Pawn come out. Very interesting to see the Ogre Pawn come out. But because Player F does next to nothing, and Dragon Pulse is going to be able to 2-hit KO it through screens. So I'm not really a huge fan of that play. I think maybe Either the Fortress should have came out, maybe. Um, this is Assault Vest Fortress, very interesting set. But I mean, it's not really like he had a bunch of great options. But so maybe the Ogerpon was the best play there. Actually, not thinking about it, but doesn't do enough, but it does weaken it, and we will see the Fortress come out. Still takes a chunk, but does rapid spin and get the rocks away, which is important for Wumples. See the lunge here to lower its attack. I think this was an attempted sack by Wumples potentially. It's also interesting enough that what you would call it, the Fortress was faster than that Slowbro. I guess so. What's Slowbro's base speed? But I guess it makes sense. Neither of them are going to be running speed, so it makes sense. But pivot, see the Tornadoes come out onto the Slowbro and then set up a substitute. Quick draw goes off. Psychic onto the substitute. Bleak Wind does a decent chunk. I'm surprised we didn't see a Terra Ground Terra Blast there, but flamethrower, smart flamethrower play, smart not going for the Psychic there. I don't know if they just figured he was just going to get damage off, or was maybe even trying to read that Hoopa. But that was a very smart play by Jake to get rid of that Hoopa. And the Bleak Wind Storm doesn't. Slowbro gets a lot of mileage there, lives the Bleak Wind Storm, gets the Psychic off. Petron's able to come and pick it off with Hex. Very smart plays by Jake coming down. Very threatening team by Wumples. I kind of like his strategy that he brought this week. And Jake is playing very phenomenal right now. Hex does next to nothing to the Golden Go, so it's able to just shadow ball and finish off this Petch. I don't know if this is a defensive Golden Go or if it was offensive. That's Hex doing absolutely nothing though. And basically, Golden Go can just sit on top of this fortress. There's nothing it can do. Basically, it's can't do anything to it. Basically, just gyro ball it, and Golden Go will be able to close out the game. So big win for Jake. Impressive match. I liked a lot of his plays in that match. Played aggressively, made some like aggressive predictions and calls, etc. To put himself in a position to win that game. So great week from Jake, and another tough loss. And this wasn't really an upset, but this was a another match. Just a big match. I mean, this either result of this match was big. But obviously having two upsets with Board Addict dropping to the King City Kingers, even though it was a new coach, and then obviously the loss, Manny losing to Tanner, a big loss there as well. And moving forward, Yee Haw Haw Yee, coach of the House of Mouse, versus Fiery Vortex, coach of the Dewey Duwats. Pretty important match for Yeehaw. Obviously, him losing is not great. Him losing this match would not be great. So we see the Glimmet lead come out. Earthquake set up Toxic Spikes. They get up its regular spikes. Immediate switch to the Noivern, and we see a Memento here. I don't. This Memento play isn't like great in my opinion because I think Glimmet could have been preserved. Obviously, like Yeehaw doesn't have great hazards, have great hazard setters on his team, and I don't even know if he brought hazards this week at all. Um, so it's like, Glimmet could have been preserved and used for later. And obviously, like throwing away your hazard setter here when his only form of hazard clear comes out, it's kind of unfortunate. But defaulting in front of the Excadrill, kind of crazy. You don't know what set it's running. And we see the Rock Slide come out, does big damage. You turn into Slitherwing, which pretty much always forces Excadrill out. Rapid spin, but not wanting to risk it, so we see Skeledirge. Nice pivot by Yeehaw. Brings out the Deoxys speed. Obviously fearing Dark Move. Horv comes in, eats the knockoff. Takes a chunk from that knockoff. And Shandy comes out on the U-turn. And surprisingly, we see a Flame Body Chandelure. This was talked about a bit after the match because, in my personal opinion, the Chandelure should 100% have been Infiltrator. Fire Vortex, Vortex always brings or has the potential to bring screens. He's brought it a bunch of times. And it's very threatening, especially with something like Baxcalibur behind it, or even like Latios with setup sets. So it's very interesting to see a flame body Chandelure when it gets access to Infiltrator. But either way, it pays off there getting a burn on the Corv. And DD comes out, obviously, and a Psychic into the King Gambit. Smart pivot. We see the baton pass go into Skeledirge. Here to sack it to the Kowtow Cleave. Not a lot of great switch-ins for Vortex. Unfortunate Willow was missed there. I think maybe Torch Song was the better play just to get damage off on the King Gambit, but Willis also would have been huge. We see an Ironhead, I think predicting a switch, but it does get the flinch onto the King Gambit, and Earthquake is enough to finish it off. So kind of unlucky from Vortex there, and then some luck for Vortex. Uh, we see the Noivern come in to Flamethrower, doesn't do enough to kill, so the extra joke is able to rapid spin and stay in, get the kill and get a speed boost. Good Ironhead flinch from the Excadrill here. And unfortunately, Ironheads into the Chandelure. Basically, I don't know if that was just because, it resisted, if that's what Yeehaw was thinking, or if he was really trying to bet on that Flame Body going off there. But here we see the Flame Body paying off twice as Earthquake is not able to kill Chandelure. Excadrill goes down. Indeedee comes out. And here we'll see another play I was not a fan of. We see the Healing Wish. NDD has both Healing Wish and Baton Pass. I think the Baton Pass should have came out here to pivot. I think getting rid of this NDD this late or this early was not good. He tries to obviously Healing Wishes for the Corv to come in, restore its burn, get it to full health. But Body Press does a chunk to the Bastiodon, and we see it is Iron Defense, and it tears here, and we see the Body Press. Obviously, a smart play would have been to Brave Bird here, but Iron Defense is again, Brave Bird does 19. We see the Rest and Rest Lumberry come out. That's very interesting the way that worked. Rest. It didn't show the way the animation displayed was very weird. With U-turn into the Latios, obviously, potentially threatens with Psychic move. This is a very interesting play too here. I don't know if he saw that the Psychic seed and immediately thought that this Latios was stored power or something, because he immediately goes for body press when Psychic move in terrain would have threatened this Bastion out. So I don't know if he was just throwing it away and figured he could revenge kill it with something else. Obviously, Psychic Terrain's up, so Slitherwing can't revenge kill it. But it's very interesting to see either that or he read the stored power set and knew that he would have to either set up to make his stored power worth it. But either way, that play worked out for Yeehaw. And unfortunately, we will see the Dewey Duwats take their first L of the season, no longer undefeated, and a big win for Yeehaw. Obviously, it was a bit of a hacksy match. The the Flame Body Chandelure paid off. Interestingly enough, I really didn't expect it to. Or not say really didn't expect it to, but I think obviously Infiltrator should always be the play there, but the Flame Body paid off. So either way, that's a big win for Yeehaw. Helps him in his playoff progress. And doesn't really hurt Vortex in the long run. He actually clinches playoffs this week anyways. But either way, that was a pretty interesting match. So three upsets this week. Kind of crazy. Our last match that I have here is Vanny of the Diamond Defenders versus Bernie of the Safari Rhyhorns. I believe, yeah, Bernie needed to win this match to stay in the playoffs. So we see, taking some advice from last week, we see the immediate Terra Fairy in front of a bad matchup from the Rhyperior. It's not a bad play in my opinion at all. Get your rocks up, get a Dragon Tail, get some chip on some stuff. Pulls out the Enamorus, which was huge. Moonblast kills. Go into the Archulodon. Force a switch here. As Elf does not like that Flash Cannon at all. Dazzling Gleam does a chunk. I don't know if this was like double specs. I have to look at the Pokey Paste. Because that Enamorus, that Moonblast seemed like it did a lot. And that Dazzling Gleam, I think, did a lot as well. Because I'm pretty sure this Archulodon is Assault Vest. Dragon Pulse comes out. I don't know if this is triple specs. It might be. But Body Press, he's able to pick up the Hydreigon. Enamorus finally comes out and goes for Moonblast here to pick off the Aerotroodon before it can get too many kills. We do see the Articuno come out and immediately go for Calm Mind. And the next play here is a bit odd because we see the Ogerpon come in. I'm pretty sure that another Moonblast killed this Articuno. Obviously, he didn't like agility there, but interesting. I think the best play there was just to go straight for Hurricane, but it kind of works out because he forces or Bernie switches out, I guess, fearing not killing, but the Hurricane kills the Ogerpon. Mamoswine comes out to revenge kill with Ice Shard. Very back and forth, just offensive game, just dropping Pokemon left and right. So we see Icicle Spear Cow from the Mamoswine, and unfortunately, Vanny bulks up this play. I guess he was just wasn't expecting potential loaded dice from the Mamoswine, so it is able to kill the Annihilate before it can do anything. We do see Gardevoir come out, uh, tricks the Choice Scarf onto the Mamoswine and locks in a Trailblaze, so that's a great play. And then we see Mystical Fire come out. This should have 100% just been a Moonblast. That should have been the play here. This Mamoswine is more than likely thick fat. Oh, actually, we know it's thick fat because it got traced. So it was traced thick fat. So Vanny knows this is like thick fat. So Mystical Fire is not going to do anything. Um, so Moonblast or Psychic Move should have been the play here, and it would have annihilated this great Tusk. But unfortunately, the Mystical Fire comes out, does next to nothing, and we lose the Gardevoir there. Ice Beam comes out, there's able to revenge kill the Tusk. I don't know why we see the Enamorus here. I don't know if it was just to weaken the Life Orb damage to ensure that Mamoswine killed it. But Enamorus dies to Ice Beam because it's not faster, and Mamoswine comes out and is able to Earthquake and kill the Darkrai. Um, so a bit of a close match, a very offensive, just kind of back and forth slug out. That sees Bernie win with a 1-0. He improves, I think, it's 6-2, and unfortunately, Vanny is eliminated from the playoffs after that, or eliminated from playoff contention, should I say. It's a very crazy week in the SADL. Some upsets, some big matches, deciding playoff fates, or heavily influencing the playoffs. I'll break down the playoffs more later in the week. Maybe I don't know when it'll get recorded. Probably get recorded either tomorrow, after the day I'm recording this, or another week, or I mean another day later. We'll figure that out when I get to it. But so yeah, huge, huge week, exciting week. I love it. With that being said, I'll see y'all when I make my standings breakdown. And until then, everybody be safe.